pastor takes out a hit on his daughter's boyfriend. Yes, a pastor has been arrested for a murder for hire hit on his daughter's boyfriend. A Riverside pastor was arrested in a murder for hire plot after a police investigation determined he hired a man to kill his daughter's boyfriend. And mind you, as I mentioned, it was a pastor. What in the what? What are you talking about, Willis? Yo, this is crazy. This is truly the opposite of being in the world, but not of the world. These pastors of today are in the world and they are of the world. And here's the thing. It's not only disheartening, but more importantly, it is sad. It is not pleasing to God. And best believe he's definitely coming back. Wait till you hear what else happened in this heinous crime by a pastor.
Don't nobody go in the bathroom for about 45 minutes.
You done fucked up, you know that, don't you?
You got knocked the fuck out. What's happening?
I'm not sure if you're aware of this or not, but hospitals, they have to report any patients that have wounds, especially gunshot wounds, that could potentially have been a part of an illegal situation or possibly a crime. So it was no different in this case. Once the victim came with the wound in the hospital and they recognized that it could possibly be part of a crime. So the hospital definitely last October, the Riverside Hospital, called the police to tell them that they had a patient with gunshot wounds. Now, this is definitely a red flag for authorities. So police visited the patient in the hospital with the quickness. Once there, police discovered the man was shot during a drive-by shooting in the Orange Crest neighborhood. This is crazy. Wait till you hear how this all unfolded. Now, after being shot, the man miraculously drove himself to the hospital, and he got to thank God for that. When interviewed in the hospital, the man says the shooting happened around 7:00 p.m. as he was driving around Grove Community Drive, when all of a sudden, another car pulled up right beside him. And it's very similar to the way that they say Biggie Smalls was killed in LA. Now, the man also says someone from the other car began shooting at him and it hit him many, many times. Police initially thought this was a robbery gone wrong. So this led the Robbery Homicide Division detectives to begin following investigation. And to their surprise, they determined this wasn't a robbery situation. This was a murder for hire situation. This was a hit put out on the pastor's daughter's boyfriend by the pastor. Now, according to authorities, the victim had been dating a woman whose father is a pastor of a Spanish church in Victorville. The police later identified the pastor as a possible suspect, none other than 47-year-old Samuel Pasillas. Now, they conducted a lengthy and thorough investigation, and then the detectives discovered the father met with the men he hired and provided them information about the victim, especially his location, so they could finish the hit. Now, here's the thing. If pastors are doing heinous crimes such as this, what are the criminals going to do? Yes. Because the pastors are taking all of the criminals' jobs. The church needs to be reformed, and the pastors are not of God. We need change. Now, it was told to police that the men were paid $40,000 by Pasillas. The perpetrators also watched the victim for weeks, preparing for the shooting. Right? This is crazy and absolutely unacceptable. The pastors are starting, as I mentioned, to take all of the worldly jobs. The pastors are starting to take the jobs from the criminals, and the criminals can't do the pastor's job. So the church is failing us. Yes. On March 13, officers served search warrants at houses in Victorville, Long Beach, and Linwood, which led to Pasillas' arrest. Now, charges stem on Pasillas from solicitation for murder, conspiracy to commit murder, attempted murder, and assault, with a deadly weapon. Passillas remains in jail on a $1 million bail. This is crazy, but you ain't gonna believe what happens next. As you can imagine, Passillas was not the only one arrested. Police also arrested Juan Manuel Cabreros, a 55-year-old man from Long Beach. He was arrested for conspiracy to commit murder, attempted murder, and assault with a deadly weapon. And he's also being held on a $1 million bond. Now, our churches and our pastors are most definitely, they're failing us. It's not even close. They are failing us. Where's the character leadership? Where's the spirit of leadership, right? Because the truth is, the world started to implode once character was removed out of leadership. Because you got to understand, character is the most essential trait that a leader must possess, because your character protects your gifts and your abilities. But the moment your character becomes flawed, no longer is your gifts and abilities credible. For instance, the church that Passillas pastors, the Spanish church, now with him having his murder for hire hit placed on his daughter's boyfriend, now if Passillas goes back and try to preach it at that church, they're not going to hear him the way they used to hear him. He's not going to be as credible because his character has now been flawed. This is the problem with our world, especially with the churches. Now, every system is a reflection of its head. So the church is a system and its head is the pastor. So now the thoughts, the mindset, the behavior of the pastors are trickling down into the church. Anybody that sits on top of a system, their energy, their behavior will eventually permeate the entire community. Now, here's my concern. The people have little to no hope trusting most of these hypocritical pastors who rather be in the world and of the world. Right? I guess the Holy Spirit is only a facade to most of these preachers. This is why the church is now vibrating on the same frequency as the world. So that's why most people, they don't see any difference. It's hard for them to differentiate the church from the world. They're vibrating on the same frequency. Shame on you, pastors. What would Jesus say? Right? What would Jesus say if he was right here, right now, at the state of our churches and the mindset of our pastors, right? You may not have to answer that question, but the question will soon be answered, because best believe Jesus is coming back, right? He's coming back. Best believe. Where will you be? What will you be doing? The churches are failing us, and we need church reformation with the quickness. Let's not thank you all so much for watching. Never ever forget, you are important, you are necessary, and you are sufficient. I don't care how amazing anyone else is. There's no one in all the world greater than you, because no one in all the world has a fingerprint like you have, and no one in all the world can do that amazing thing that only you can do, my friend. So I appreciate you from the depths of my heart. So please keep watching. I'm gonna keep it coming. You be great. More importantly, be blessed.